going to be a video that I'm noticing that getting some new subscribers, getting some new commenters, some views. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. By the way, my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel, and if you have not yet, please subscribe, like the videos, comment down below. Love to hear from you guys. But I've kind of got like a trajectory plan for how I want to make a lot of my future videos, and so this is going to be the next one up. And this one is going to be concerning the term woke right. You guys have probably been hearing this term a lot lately, the woke right. I think it started sometime back in November or December, maybe October even. It could have started even before Trump was elected again. But it was created by this character called James Lindsay. A lot of you probably know who Mr. James Lindsay is. I certainly know who James Lindsay is because I actually used to be somewhat of a fan of his about 4 years ago when his podcast New Discourses came out. This was kind of when, you know, my knowledge was not as good as it is now about politics and how things work, but I didn't understand that James Lindsay was a form of containment, but that's coming to the forefront now. But yeah, I used to listen to his New Discourses, and I thought like all his projects were cool. He's creating this like woke encyclopedia where he would like take the words that they say, like my truth, or I'm trying to think of like the woke terms. There's like like woke my truth, or like equity, you know, these like words that the leftists use now. He would take those words and like define them. And yeah, I thought all that was cool. I thought the New Discourse was cool. He used to be on like Benjamin Boyce a lot, which I still like Benjamin. Benjamin's like one of the good liberals. Because I say liberals because he's still like a classical liberal. I don't mean like he's libtarded, but he's a liberal. But Benjamin Boyce is a good one. He was on like Joshua Slocum, Disaffected podcast. He's another good liberal on most issues. So yeah, like James Lindsay, I thought he was based, guys. I thought he was like one of us. He was a based. I was like, oh, he's a liberal and he's an atheist, but he's like based. It's like similar to the Jordan Peterson arc, actually. And it is funny that James Lindsay and Jordan Peterson, that's actually what inspired me to make this video. This happened a while ago, but like weeks ago, where James Lindsay was on Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson's like, well, you know, the term Lucifer means the light bringer. It's like the sun rises, the light comes up, you know. And then James Lindsay does this, he pauses and he goes, wait, the sun rises? What do you do when the sun rises? You wake. Woke. Like, this is a real clip. Maybe I'll link it in the video for you guys so you can check it out. But I don't know if they have just that clip, so maybe I won't link it, because it's like a whole podcast. I didn't listen to the whole podcast because it'd been way too cringe. But yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's interesting that he's now mingling with Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson is another character that I consider like a fallen ally or whatever, if he ever was one. Because that's the thing about these kinds of people. Once you start learning about friend-enemy distinction, you start to realize that none of these people were ever your friends. It's just you didn't know enough, or you know, there was enough containment at the time to where they could kind of blend in with you. But you know, as the divide continues between the right and the left, you know, it's very drastic these days, which is a good thing. But it's very drastic these days, so you're able to really suss these people out a lot more. And so yeah, James Lindsay kind of had this containment arc, right? He was going on all the podcasts and he was talking to people, and you know, he was one of the good libs. You know, he just wanted to defeat woke, man. But Jordan Peterson had another one. I remember that there was two instances where I fell off the wagon, and for James Lindsay, I can't remember what podcast it was, but he was on a podcast. It might have been Benjamin Boyce, I can't remember, but he was on a podcast and he essentially said that he would rather the woke win than the Christian right, is what he said. And as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, I am very much a Christian. It's my outlook on life. I have a Christian outlook. I'm very upfront about that because it matters. Like, I'm not going to LARP and be like, I'm a Christian, but then, like, again, this is the Jordan Peterson problem. He's like LARPing as a Christian, but he won't say it. He'll just like avoid the question. So I don't want to be like that. So yeah, that happened, and then Jordan Peterson had another one where he said that he didn't want fundamental Christianity to win, which fundamental Christianity is like based world. That's like, sorry, the camera. Kind of tired right now, as you can tell. Fundamental Christianity is based world. That's like we're taking women's rights away. We're banning homosexuality, things like that. Not advocating for anything, YouTube. Don't ding my channel because I'm a right-wing extremist. But yeah, I'm very much for that, and that's what happens to these characters. They like that's the irony of these people. They're essentially atheists, James Lindsay as well, and they LARP as right-wing because what's happened to the left? It's the old Ronald Reagan quote that everyone thinks is so great, where he says, "I didn't leave the left left me," and everyone's like, "Did you? He said it. Oh my gosh, it's so based." But it's like all that really means is that the left got more radical. So like, you're still Ronald Reagan, you are still technically a leftist. It's just that you're not, your party has advanced more radically, but you never got more right wing. That's the key. And ironically, it was James Lindsay that made this analogy, right? So there's a train that's going down the tracks and there's individual stops, right? This is what leftists like to do, and a lot of Republicans even, right? They like to get off of a certain stop and be like, okay, this is as far left as it goes. And for somebody like James Lindsay, it's like the 90s. That's like as far as it goes, right? The 90s was the peak of civilization. In many ways it was. The Matrix kind of predicted that, which is a little bit ironic. The Matrix said something like they modeled the Matrix after 1999 world because it was like the peak of human civilization, and if they tried to model it on anything other than that, humans would reject it. Like the human mind couldn't accept it, essentially. I just thought that was funny, but that's how James Lindsay thinks too. That's how a lot of these characters think, is they think that if we could just go back to the 90s. And the right wing kind of suffers from it too. I'm guilty of this. Like I look at the 50s like that would be a great time. But to be really right wing, you want to go even farther back. It's one of the reasons why I've become, I'm not actually like a catechumen, but it's why I'm walking towards the Orthodox Church, because I really like the idea of going back in time and looking at your history and realizing like it's not evil, right? Your ancestors were not evil. This is all a gay psyop. Because liberalism, right? They want to crush you down to dust so you become an economic unit. I've talked about that in the past. And so yeah, to get back on I'm kind of like laying it out. So where does like woke right come from, right? So James Lindsay builds his career off of writing bogus research papers. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was probably like 10 years ago now, 10 years ago. He was on there and he was like, oh yeah, like we wrote these papers, man, about like, they were pretty funny. Like one of them I think was like, if your dog like smells your butt or something, you're like gay. And they used the woke terms like gender theory and all that. And some of these papers got published by colleges. That was like his claim to fame, is he wrote bogus papers. I can never remember the other guy's name, but there's a woman named Helen Pluckrose as well. She's pretty bad herself. She's very libtarded, but that's kind of his claim to fame. because he wrote these bogus papers, and then that got him on Joe Rogan, and then, you know, his whole career was built off of woke, right? Like defining woke. What is woke? And so he starts attacking the woke, rightfully so, but one of the things I've learned over time, yeah, like especially as I get closer to God, is that woke is like inevitable in this kind of society. It's not like a thing that just came out of nowhere. Like it was almost predictable. Because again, if you go read about Weimar Germany, right? Like go read the books. I can't say the evil mid-century German painter. Go read the books that he burned, and like the actual books, right? A YouTuber that I'll shout out because he's very good for this kind of stuff is a Zoomer historian. He makes lots of videos on this topic. But anyway, when you find out about Weimar Germany, and you'll kind of realize like this has happened in the past. You could even go all the way back to like Babylon or Sodom and Gomorrah. Like this has happened in the past. This is what happens when you replace God with secular thought, is that people are inherently religious. Like no matter what you want, there's like no way to avoid the religious element. And what do I mean by that? So what is woke really? Woke is a religion. Again, James Lindsay's pretty good at this, and this is why James Lindsay has a meltdown, why he created woke, right? Because what James Lindsay really hates is he hates religion. But James Lindsay is religious himself. He doesn't understand. He's religious in atheism. His cause is to crush any religion, whether it be woke or Christian or Muslim, you know, Judaism, whatever. But that's his religion. I've always said atheism in and of itself is a religion, because people can't have a religion, because people have belief structures, they have presuppositions, they have things that define their day-to-day, they have reasons that they get out of bed in the morning. And if you don't have that, you're suicidal, you're dead, basically. So anyone that's like alive has some form of presuppositions, which means they have some form of belief structure, which can always be translated into religion. And then another thing about human beings, this is where liberalism fails and lies, is that humans are collective beings. We do not operate individually, even if we like to think we do. We are very much social creatures, right? Like I've talked in the past, I'm very introverted. I don't like people, but you know, every now and then, you know, that's like one of the reasons I like going to the gym. You know, I do like to see people, and you know, I like to see beautiful women, you know. So it's not that I completely avoid people, it's just that I tend to not prefer them all the time. But you see what I mean? Like you can't just be, if I was alone all the time, I would probably get really depressed. So like you always need to have someone in your life. So I kind of went on a little tirade there, but it's to illustrate the point of religion. And so James Lindsay is caught in this fallacy. Jordan Peterson, I have no clue. I think Jordan Peterson's just bought and paid for. Same with James Lindsay, but I actually think James Lindsay like actually believes in his stupidity. I think Jordan Peterson is just old and tired, and he's been made like a millionaire, and you know his like stupid daughter is out there giving like the worst takes imaginable. You know, Jordan Peterson is just a shell of a man. That's the way to describe him. He's a broken vessel of a man, and it is what it is. James Lindsay, much more sinister. So to get to the topic of the video, finally, if you guys like these rants, you guys enjoy these videos, if you've made it this far, 15 minutes in, thank you so much for watching. My name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button. You can even hit that little bell if you want. It notifies you when the videos come on. I've got them scheduled out, by the way. They come out 4 p.m. Mountain Time every day. Well, not every day, Monday through Friday. And then I do an unboxing on the weekends, which that's just for fun. but I digress. The woke right, okay? So I gave the backstory, like, right, the woke left, it's a reactionary religion that was created out of the civil rights mindset. You know, it's literally liberalism as a religion, right? You strip all morality of God, but you still have some kind of quasi made up morality. And that's why you get politically correct. That's why you get virtue signaling. This is why you get DEI practices, right? Like I'm now unfortunately working in an office setting again. You know, you got to deal with all the cringe. All of this stuff comes from the presuppositions of liberalism, and in a way, liberalism is actually just a deformed, disordered version of Christianity. That's another thing about these breakoffs, is that all of them pretty much have presuppositions from Christianity, because Christianity is the most universal religion that's ever existed. You know, there's probably going to be people in the comments like, that's not true, you're lying, whatever. You're wrong. So it's a facsimile of a superior religion, which is Christianity. And then, you know, you can use the transcendental argument about that, about how, like, I couldn't even be making these thoughts, these videos, if it wasn't for God. And yeah, like that's another funny thing about the atheists, is by them trying to convince you that there's no God, in a way they're presupposing that there could be a God. Otherwise they have no argument at all. There's like no reason to talk about it, right? So yeah, that's the woke left. So the woke right, and another reason why I waited so long to get in this is because I'm going to get a little more spicy now. You know, I wanted to get deep into it, so YouTube, you know. Essentially what woke right is we're having a collective awakening on the right. You know, we're recognizing race realism. We're recognizing feminism. We're recognizing transgenderism. We're recognizing homosexuality. We're recognizing Jewish power. We're noticing, guys. That's the meme on the right now. We're just stop noticing, bro. You're noticing everything too fast. And so someone like James Lindsay, since he's partially a shill, he's even admitted that. I think one of his conferences, he like tried to make a joke about how he was funded by Israel. That was literally the joke. He says, oh, by the way, I'm funded by Israel. And the joke was literally that. It was, by the way, I'm funded by Israel. And that's all he said, and like nobody laughed. So he kind of like admitted. He like admitted what's the deal. And so he comes up with this term called the woke right. The first time I saw it, I'm trying to remember, it was like when I think Trump posted a St. Michael quote, a biblical quote, and James Lindsay had this like meltdown on Twitter. That was when like all these people were just like laughing at him. Like Aaron McIntyre made a video, Academic Agent made a video. Because James Lindsay is just, ever since then, he's been just on this like meltdown binge. The guy's just like losing his mind on Twitter every day. Like as I'm making this video, he's tweeting, making a fool of himself. And again, why this is happening is, one, I think he's getting paid, obviously. He's a form of containment. There's no denying that. But also, he's one of the kooks on the left. Like he actually believes, he hates Christianity and religion so much that I think he actually believes a lot of this stuff he says. And so in a weird way, he's become woke. Like it, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't really care about woke left, or he's just become like anti-Christianity, which is kind of how woke started in the first place. So he's just becoming like what he tried to fight. All right, like Batman, it's like you either die a hero or you become the villain. It's kind of what's happening to James Lindsay. And so he comes up with this term, the woke right, because yeah, everybody online is noticing things now. People like are making videos like I'm making now. The discussions are being had. People are fed up. That's bottom line. I've made many videos about millennials, how we're all old now, and you know our entire life was a lie, really. Millennials are the generation where everything was lied about. I got a couple comments on one of my videos about how Gen X didn't drink the Kool-Aid, and so yeah, I guess I've been hearing a lot of that, and you know, I believe it. I think Gen X, they had a lot of things that the millennials will never have. They didn't get suckered in as much by this college scam. You know, I don't think they were told they were like super special. In fact, I think Gen X was the opposite. They had kind of a chip on their shoulder. And so millennials were not that way. Like when I was in school, I was told I was just like, oh, you can be anything you want. You know, the term millennial, we should be called Gen Y. The term millennial is kind of like almost like a dispensationalist, like Zionist thing. It's like the word millennial in and of itself is kind of a psyop. I could make like a whole video about that. But I'm digressing. So yeah, people are fed up, bottom line. The boomers are getting old, they're dying off, which means that the post-war consensus, the World War, the WW2 narrative is slowly dying off with the boomers. The boomers are the last true believers of these things, right? The civil rights era mindset is leaving. The feminist mindset is leaving, right? Like everybody's kind of in disarray, and then we have things like the internet. And so yeah, somebody like James Lindsay, he's upset by this because his whole goal was to defeat the woke, right? So James Lindsay's goal is he wants to create a world. It's basically an impossible goal. He wants to create a world where nobody's religious and everybody's just objective. But it's kind of like when Academic Agent says, like, I don't agree with Academic Agent on this. He always calls himself value free. But the problem is nobody can be value free. Nobody can be completely unbiased. And James Lindsay falls into this trap too. So he's freaking out because he wanted a form of liberalism that wasn't as radical as the left is right now. He wants the left to go back to like Obama, Hopi and changey bullshit. Right? But what's happening instead is because of Trump, and I've made the videos in the past, like Trump is almost irrelevant at this point. It's what Trump represents and what he's set in motion that matters. Is that there's going to be a wave of people after Trump now that are going to become more and more based as time goes on, right? You're going to get more Nick Fuentes types. You're going to get more, if I could use someone in politics, I think he's retired now, but Matt Gaetz was one of the more based people in Congress, right? Who the hell knows with J.D. Vance? I have no clue with him still, but you know, it's a step in the direction of it's going to be a lot more right wing. And there's going to be containment figures. There's going to be containment figures because there's also still the neocons. I've talked about that in the past. Like the neocons are very much a containment. They're still part of the greater Israel Zionist project. They want unlimited wars at all costs. You know, this is like, you know, that's the problem with Trump is he's got both sides chirping in his ear right now. That's why he's all over the place. So we're going to have to get someone better than him, but he's kind of like set the template that like you can just kind of break into politics. All you got to do is, you know, have the balls to do it, right? Have the will to act, from Batman. So yeah, the woke right, to kind of like tie this video up, it's a completely fake and gay psyop. Because the genuine right, and I just call it reality. I don't call the genuine right, like right or whatever. It's just reality. The closer you get to truth, the more right wing you become. It's just a natural state, because that's all it is. The dialectic is false versus truth, and truth always wins. It's like the concept of father time, right? Like how we all get older. Getting older is a truth of life, and you can deny it all your life, but then one day you're going to wake up and you're old without even trying. So it's like, that's what I mean by truth, when the spirit of the age is more truth. And James Lindsay is panicking. That's as simple as. So he creates this term called the woke right. He gets trigonometry on board, Konstantin Kisin, and all these cringe lords, you know, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, and they all go out And they try to do this thing. They try to do this stupid woke right campaign. And it's completely flopped. That's the beauty of it. This has flopped so bad to the point where it's kind of ruined. Like, I think the Daily Wire is like just bleeding subscribers. I won't be surprised if Matt Walsh like announces his departure from them soon. But at the same time, you know, Matt Walsh could be grifting as well, because that's another thing. There are a lot of people that are pretending to be right-wing, like not woke right, but who knows their true intentions, right? This is what you always have to be aware of. You always have to be studying people. Even me, I'm talking to you right now. You don't know me, so you just kind of got to study what I say, decide if you trust me. You do that with anyone that you watch. Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, right? You need to know who they are. Check the early life if you can. And figure that out. And so, yeah, James Lindsay is, he created this term called the woke right, because he's afraid of truth. That's all it is. It's just another form of containment. He wants to go back to the 1990s, you know, where that's the myth of the 90s, is that nobody was racist. Everybody got along. It's completely false. There was like crazy race riots in the 90s. You know, he had O.J. Simpson. Like it was not. It was all a facsimile. It was kind of like there was no internet back then, so that was still back when the TV, right? That's why they remember the 90s fondly, because it was the last time. It was the last decade where, since there was no internet, the TV propaganda that the boomers experienced was still able to keep the narrative under wraps. And so you had the Hollywood movies of the time. And, you know, I liked the 90s. Like, 90s movies are great. You know, you had, like, the Independence Day. That was, like, the vibe of the country. Everybody was very patriotic. This was also before 9/11. People weren't as traumatized yet. A lot of you Zoomers aren't ever going to know what that feels like. Because, yeah, like, one of the guys I'm working with right now, he's 25 years old. I was like, dang. So that means he was born in the year 2000. He was like 1 year old when 9/11 happened. So it's like he's too young to really know. That's how I know I'm getting old, guys. But yeah, kind of wrap this video up. It's going almost 30 minutes. Again, thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. But yeah, to kind of wrap this up, woke right it's a gay op. It's just a psyop. Don't fall for it. You're noticing very real things, right? Black fatigue is a real thing. The crime rates are a real thing. The immigration numbers, those are very real things. The women sucking the soul out of society because they're all over the place in the workforce now. Very real thing. Genuine masculinity being absolutely punished at every corner. Very real thing, right? James Lindsay represents the soy man. Do not be the soy man. He wants the containment. You know, and yeah, again, they want you to be homosexual as well. That's why they push this. This was I'm convinced Obama's big projects was push the homosexuality and then also get in the Obamacare, and he succeeded at both. He also kind of, like, I don't really fully believe this, but he did create the racial part of the woke, where, you know, BLM side, because he basically did the whole. This is like literal proof that, like, James Lindsay's worldview is wrong too. Is that everybody thought that when Obama got elected, it's like, oh, that's the end of racism, guys. Like, we elected a black man in office, so, like, racism defeated. And what we learned is, like, actually no, Obama is now going to just look out for his people over you. He doesn't really care about Americans. He cares about his own people, and that's what he began doing, right? He was the one that started, go read about it. He's actually started purging the military. That's one of the reasons why our military is in such shambles, because he started purging all the generals and all, like, the high functioning people so he could put in DEI hires. This was all Obama. So that is very real. The left participates in it. That's another thing that's so frustrating about the right and this whole woke right thing, is that everything that they accuse the right wing of doing, the left has already done at this point. They've already rigged elections. They've already tried to kill people. They shot at Trump, right? January 6th happened. Like, they've already, the whole rioting happened, right? Like, George Floyd happened. Derek Chauvin is a political prisoner. All of this stuff has already happened that the left has done, and the right wing is still trying to pretend, because of these characters like James Lindsay and this woke right containment neocon crap, that, oh, we're just going to play by the rules, right? Because we're better than them. It's always the message. It's like, it's not about being better than them. It's about hating evil the way God hates evil. That's another part of the containment, is this soft form of Christianity that needs to just go away. This is not a time for soft Christianity. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope I got my point across. Woke right is something to be laughed at and discarded. It is a gay op. It's a psyop. It's meant to control your mind and keep you not even in the center. It's to keep you in like the George W. Bush Republican mindset, and then like, or like Senator Johnson. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the most milquetoast politicians, right? It's all meant to just keep you in line, and that's the bottom line. So with that said, guys, that is the video. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through this 30-minute plus video, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. But with all that said, I will talk to you guys on the next one.